Grimsby is very heavy on the gross out humour. In fact, it's probably the grossest gross out comedy I've ever seen. And that's saying something because obviously I see a lot of movies. So there's a couple of things in particular that a lot of people are talking about. And, you know, they don't want to give away spoilers, but hey, that's what I'm here for. So toward the end of the video, I'll tell you what it is that people are being so grossed out about. And if you think you can handle it, then I guess if you want to go and see this film, just be aware of just how gross this is. I can't imagine anybody, even people that really enjoy gross out comedy, I can't imagine anybody leaving this film without feeling a little bit crumpled and a little bit dirty, slightly damaged, slightly disturbed, and just feeling like they want to kind of, I don't know, wash their mouth out with bleach, perhaps. It's a bit gross, but let's get on to the content. So we'll start with the easier stuff first, the stuff like the swearing. There's quite a few F words and S words, A words and B words, so things like, you know, bitch and bastard and bollocks and the name calling, a few obscene finger gestures and hand gestures and all that kind of stuff. Although really the swearing, I wouldn't say, is the strongest part of the film. I mean, yeah, there's swearing, but it's kind of minor compared to everything else. There is a little bit of alcohol in the film. You do see people drinking wine and champagne, and there are, you know, there's alcohol around the film. And there is some drug taking in the film. Drugs play a fairly kind of big part in one scene in particular. You see some drug dealing happening and some drug smuggling on an aircraft. There is, someone takes heroin accidentally. They accidentally inject themselves with heroin, and then you see them kind of tripping out afterwards. The other drugs in the film are painkillers, and you see somebody injecting himself with painkillers. So with the injections, you do see the needle and the syringe entering the skin. So if you're a bit squeamish with needles, be aware of that one. Okay, let's get on to the violence. Now, part of the film is kind of spoofy Bond style, and this is probably actually the most successful part of the film. And these are the scenes where you see all the punching and kicking and most of the shooting or people being shot at, thrown over railings and all the kind of things you'd expect to see in a high action style comedy or drama even. Some of the footage or some of the cinematography is shot in first person style shooting, video, so even GoPro style. So because you get that first person point of view, it is a little bit disorienting, particularly when, you know, the first person, the character is running through busy streets and you see them from the first person point of view. So it can be a little bit kind of dizzying at times. But yeah, this is where most of the violence happens. Now with the shooting, and because this is a gross out film, nothing is left sacred. I mean nothing. So a child is shot, for example, and other harm is done to, like an animal, a bird is shot and the bird explodes when it's shot. And there's a person who is shot with a larger weapon and they just completely explode. And there's blood spatter and it looks like flesh, and gore just kind of goes everywhere. Again, it's meant for laughs. But I guess where the violence might become a little bit kind of uncomfortable is where it jokes about this kind of violence. So things like HIV and AIDS, there's jokes about that. There's also jokes about things being rammed up people's bottoms, let's say, and these lead on to other kind of also slightly uncomfortable sequences. But I'm going to kind of lead in here, I guess, to the sex and nudity of the film, and this is where it gets particularly gross out. So with the nudity, you do see some full female nudity, but it's mostly in the background, so it's not really obvious or anything. And you see, people from behind fully nude and in towels, and men sitting in the bath and that kind of thing, and you assume that they're nude. You see couples having sex, and again, you don't really see the nudity, but you see the action of the sex. You see orgasm and any the sex related behaviour, but you see women in lingerie and things like that. But I guess and here's where the spoiler stuff comes in. So you see the male genitalia, and not just of humans but of animals as well, and let's just say it's quite in your face, and I mean that with no irony whatsoever. So with the male genitalia, you do see scrotum, and see this is I guess the whole point of why this film is so gross out. It's not that it just goes to places that other films haven't necessarily been before, like it goes there, but then it lingers there, so it kind of stays in some of these uncomfortable and gross scenes. So when you see the scrotum, there's a kind of an incident has happened involving the scrotum, and something needs to be, poison needs to be sucked out of the scrotum. And as I said, this is sort of lingering. It goes on for quite a while. So you see this sac, and you see it being sucked, and it goes on and on and on. And there's people who are watching this scene happen to think that there's some kind of sexual act going on, and then there's an incest reference and so on. I'm sure you get the picture. So with the other animal sex scene, it's elephants mating. But what's happened, and again, this is an absolute spoiler, the two main characters have crawled into an elephant's uterus to hide from attackers, and then a male bull elephant decides to mate with the female elephant. So you see a gigantic elephant penis being inserted into the female vagina, and of course it knocks about and bumps our two characters inside, and then you see the ejaculate, and let's just say they're covered. So almost the whole screen is covered in spraying elephant. I don't want to say it, but if you can visualize it, then I'm really, really sorry. Now, it's not just that it's gross and it's icky and it's a bit revolting, but it's, I don't know, the screening I went to anyway, everyone said afterwards it was just kind of wrong. It really is awful to watch, and it, like I said, it just goes on and on and on. You know, the screening I went to, no one was really laughing, apart from one guy, and I'm pretty sure this film was made just for him. But most people were really either looking away and saying, "Is it over yet? Is it over yet?" or just really trying to pretend it wasn't happening. So there you go. That's kind of, you know, very much what this film is about, you know, beginning to end in terms of themes. There is a lot actually more than that, and some of it is not quite as bad as that, but there's a lot of other themes which are attacked and other issues which are also ridiculed or used for comedy. Rather than go into absolutely everything, because I think I've given you the kind of the most gross picture I probably possibly can already. Have a look at the website where you get the full content description and the kind of, you know, themes and stuff which is also discussed, you know, things like kids holding beer and talking about smoking crack and stuff like that. But yeah, see for yourself by having a look at the website, which is of course cinemum.net. Grimsby stars Sacha Baron Cohen. It also has a few kind of very minor roles from some amazing actors such as Rebel Wilson and Isla Fisher. And Mark Strong, who I've got to say is very brave in this film. I'm not really sure why he signed up for it, but hey, you know, good luck to him for doing so. Like I said, if you want to read the full review, it's on the website. Otherwise, if you do go and see the film, please do let me know what you thought.